Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is the 10th episode of story where Naruto's potential is greater than Sasuke Uchiha's, but owing to a life of rejection, he wasn't what was expected, yet beneath every fake smile is a real person who hides out of fear. Watch as Naruto Uzumaki develops into the prodigy he was born to be, as he discovers his ancestors, both his father and the Uzumaki lineage. Please hit the subscribe and like buttons. Let's get this party started. Kiba flipped backwards, Shino doing the same. The fiery redhead slammed her fists into the ground, before, and without missing a beat, she leapt up at them. Kiba nodded to Shino and twirling his body he leapt at her. "Getsuga!" yelled Kiba. He slammed into her, throwing her backwards into a tree. Kiba landed back next to Shino, his eyes and nose twitching. "To think I would be the one to fight someone who smells like a fucking dog," said Tuya. Her eyes were glaring hard. "Fuck you," snarled Kiba. Tuya laughed slightly. "I fucking hate dogs and bugs, so I won't go easy on you," said Tuya. Kiba glared at her. "Why did he take Hinata?" questioned Kiba. Tuya laughed evilly. "Good question. He wants to experiment on the Byakugan. He is going to extract her eyes and experiment with her blood and eyes. He may remove a limb or two, change her DNA, mix it with something else." He was thinking a snake. "And then when she is grown up, she will be turned into a baby manufacturing machine, starting with Sasuke Uchiha," said Tuya. Kiba was snarling dangerously. Shino was deathly quiet. The buzz of the bugs could be heard. "Like we would fucking let him," snarled Kiba. Tuya laughed. "Why do you care? Don't tell me you were teammates, how disgusting," said Tuya. She was about to say more, when she leapt backwards. A twirling mass had destroyed the tree. Tuya just laughed. "A bad ninja is one who can't control his emotions," she said confidently. Before she could say more, she felt a prickling sensation fall over her skin. "Then that won't be a problem with me," said Shino emotionlessly. Tuya cursed as the prickling sensation got worse. She flared heat chakra, and immediately felt her reserves drop. "What the fuck are you doing to me?" snarled Tuya. Shino just stood with his arms stretched out. "My Kikaiku are sucking out your chakra, they will then proceed to feed off of your life force until you are dead," said Shino. Kiba smirked at her. Tuya just cursed under her breath. Kiba tossed a chakra pill to Akamaru, who leapt and snapped it up. In a cloud of smoke, there stood another Kiba, and Tuya smirked slightly. "Now I definitely can't tell which is smarter," said Tuya. Kiba snarled at her. "Kiba, calm," said Shino warningly. Tuya was working quickly, her chakra was rapidly leaving her. "So if you are a dog, possibly thinking you're alpha, then why is everyone so much stronger than you? Sasuke can beat you with your eyes closed, and that redhead, he's got all of you beat, even in the looks department, you disgusting, horrible mutt," said Tuya. Both Kibas snarled and spun at her. She smirked in victory as the bugs left her body. She flipped out of the way of the two spiraling masses. "Kiba," said Shino in a commanding tone. Kiba and Akamaru returned to their places. "Too damn easy," said Tuya. Kiba was crouched low, glaring at her. "Kiba, she did that deliberately. Now I won't be able to get her again," said Shino, his tone disapproving. Kiba looked sheepish. "Sorry Shino," said Kiba. Tuya smirked and flicked her wrist, a flute spinning in her hand. "Now, that's enough talking, time for my easy win," said Tuya. She began to play into the flute, no sound left it though. Shino's bug sensed it immediately, his chakra was being affected. Kiba was oblivious, and Akamaru was whimpering. Suddenly the world shifted, changing to a horrible black, white and red. Kiba and Shino were both held in place by a series of metal wires. Sound began to penetrate their minds, and then they both felt like they were burning. Their skin began to peel off of their bodies. The invisible fire burned hotter than the sun. Kiba began to thrash, snarling in pain. Shino felt his eyes wince as his body shuddered. "Trapped like rats, and I only got to use on jutsu," said Tuya, her tone mock sad. "Kiba, calm, this is a genjutsu, you just need to remember what Kurena-sensei taught us," said Shino, but Kiba was lost in the fire. Shino began to use his bugs, some were moving to his ears cutting off sound completely, others moved around his body, disrupting his chakra flow. He blinked and was back in the real world. He stayed frozen, letting Tuya think he was still trapped in her genjutsu. He began to send his bugs to her, but she looked at him and smirked. Shino cursed under his breath as Kiba began to attack him, his arms and limbs striking at him viciously. Shino expertly sent bugs to begin disrupting Kiba's chakra. Kiba stopped and began to blink as if he had woken from a dream. Before Shino could block of Kiba's ears, Kiba snarled as Tuya held up a shivering Akamaru. "Give him back!" snarled Kiba. Tuya smirked and carelessly tossed him into the air. She expertly picked up a spiky bit of branch, and flicked it at Akamaru with deadly speed. Shino quickly pulled his arm down, and Akamaru was pulled down, bugs surrounding him. He tossed Akamaru to Kiba, his bugs moving to block Kiba's ears, but suddenly a fireball was flying at them. The bugs were burned to a crisp. Kiba looked at Shino. "Do you have a plan, Shino?" questioned Kiba, but Shino just stared at Tuya. Kiba saw the bugs blocking Shino's ears. "Ah yeah, she controls sound," thought Kiba. He hated being at such a disadvantage, that's why he had special training from Kurenai. Flashback: Kurenai was stood in the middle of the training ground. Her Jinan team were still Jinan after the resulting attack on the leaf. Only 2 of the rookies had achieved the position, both deserving of the role. Currently, she was asking her team if they wanted to learn anything specific. "How about a space/time ninjutsu?" said Kiba. Kurenai shook her head. "Kiba, I don't know how to do it. It is a very specific and difficult technique. It can be from a simple sealing scroll to the fourth teleportation technique," said Kurenai. Kiba snorted slightly. "If an idiot like Naruto can do it, then I can too," said Kiba. Hinata frowned at Kiba. "Naruto-kun is not an idiot, not anymore," said Hinata. Kiba smirked evilly. "Ah, but you still admit he was an idiot," said Kiba. Hinata shook her head blushing. I didn't mean it like that at all," said Hinata. Kiba just laughed at her, causing Hinata to stand up. Hinata?" started Kiba, but Hinata stood with her fists at her sides. "You are just jealous because someone has an ability you want. Naruto never flaunts his abilities, so why are you being so selfish?" "You sound like an Uchiha," said Hinata. She blushed once she was done and muttered an apology. "She is right, Kiba," said Shino. Kiba glared at them. "What if I were to fight against Naruto? I couldn't win. If he manages to pull off a single jutsu I can't win. He can teleport and turn intangible. He has a sword and genjutsu. How am I supposed to beat that?" snarled Kiba. Kurenai sighed sadly. "Kiba, you are not going to be fighting Naruto, so why worry?" said Kurenai. Kiba smirked. "Well, I have to fight him to be Hokage," said Kiba. Kurenai sighed, shaking her head. "I suppose Kiba has a point. For that, I will teach you a special technique on how to break out of most genjutsu. Dujutsu genjutsu not included," said Kurenai. So they trained every day, though Hinata was the best at it. She flushed and said Naruto was training her as well. Kiba bristled with jealousy once again. Hinata should be noticing his achievements, not some nobody who had magically obtained the Sharingan, and didn't have to work hard at anything. End flashback: Kiba didn't hate Naruto. Over the time after the genjutsu training, Kiba had actually found Naruto to be a pretty chilled out guy, but Naruto much preferred to spend his time with Shino. Kiba flipped backwards as the tree bark erupted, Tuya's fist inches away from his face. Shino pulled him back with his bugs. Kiba was snarling at Tuya, who was simply smirking. "We can't keep fighting like this," said Shino. Tuya laughed as she twirled her flute in her hand. "I can't agree more," said Tuya. She began to play her flute. Shino immediately flew at her, whilst Kiba was distracted, his eyes on her fingers. Shino threw out an arm. Bugs flew at Tuya with startling speed. She flipped backwards, her fingers not stopping whatever sound she was creating. Shino landed on the branch Tuya previously occupied. "You are not a strong physical fighter, it appears we are at an odds," said Shino emotionlessly, his eyes focused behind his dark glasses. "There is no point in talking to you if you can't hear me," said Tuya. Shino was stood focused. She pressed the flute to her lips again, and Shino nodded. Tuya sucked in a breath and coughed slightly. "You fell right into my little plan," said Shino, the bugs removing themselves from his ears. Tuya dropped her flute, her hands flying to her throat. Bugs began to cover her body. Tattoos began to spread slowly, but they just faded as bugs flew into her open mouth. "Shino, what are you doing?" said Kiba. Shino was just watching Tuya. Kiba was shocked. Shino had planned perfectly. "She is an enemy, she will only cause us problems. Her chakra is similar to that strange purple chakra from Sasuke. I have already studied it extensively. I know how to counter it. It is either seal it, or destroy the person's chakra from the inside," said Shino. Kiba nodded. Tuya had grown pale. Her eyes were livid. "To think, I was beaten this easily, but trash no less," thought Tuya angrily. "It is a shame we were your opponents. Our sensei taught us a lot about genjutsu, and our friends are also fighting for Hinata-kun's life. We will not lose here," said Shino. Tuya's heart thumped unevenly before it stopped completely. Kiba breathed a sigh of relief. "Well, I am glad that's over." "Well done, Shino," said Kiba. Shino nodded. Both felt their team's chakra fade. Sakura's was wobbling, but still strong. "We have to go check on them," said Shino. Kiba looked concerned. He wanted to follow Sasuke, but they both felt an enormous and strong chakra zoom past them. He's finally caught up, let's hope he can get through that. But before Kiba could finish, screams and fire arose, the blue light covering the forest. We have to stay out of his way, until Hinata-san is safe, said Shino. Kiba nodded and followed Shino through the forest. Naruto walked through the tree line, his eyes on the massive valley, the two giant stone statues carved either side of a massive waterfall. Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju stood facing each other, ready for battle. The sky was overcast. Naruto strode forward, his trench coat blowing in the wind. He was wearing his Anbu garbs, minus the vest and armbands, but his shirt, pants and boots were the same. He wore his black trench coat. His sword sheath was held in his left hand, his right hand was dangling down his side. He walked to the edge of the cliff, and saw Sasuke stood in the center, stood on top of the water. In a flash Naruto was stood in front of Sasuke. Sasuke smirked at Naruto. "Didn't take you long at all," said Sasuke. Naruto was about to speak, when clapping was heard. Naruto looked up on Madara's head, and there stood Orochimaru, no Kabuto and no Hinata. It made Naruto's gut clench. Ninja began to line the top of the cliff, forming a ring around the small valley. "Mr. Uzumaki, you truly are a marvel to behold, such power, such raw talent," said Orochimaru, his tone turned wistful. "Don't talk to me so casually." "Where is Hinata?" said Naruto, loud enough to know Orochimaru would hear him. "In due time, Mr. Uzumaki, in due time. What I want first is a rematch between you and Sasuke-kun here," said Orochimaru. Naruto looked to Sasuke, who was strapping on a new blade. "Why?" said Naruto. Orochimaru laughed. "If you want to see the Hyuga again, you will fight to the death. If you win, I get Sasuke's body and you get Hinata back. If you lose, I get both. And trust me, you don't want to know what I am planning for her," said Orochimaru. Naruto immediately turned to Sasuke, his eyes focused. "Don't worry, I want to kill you," said Sasuke. Naruto smirked. "Your little epiphany didn't last long," said Naruto. Sasuke just chuckled evilly. Orochimaru helped put things into perspective. "There are just some things I can't forget," said Sasuke. He stood prepared, his Sharingan spun in his eyes. "And what is that?" Sasuke questioned Naruto. Sasuke smirked. "That my brother has to pay for his crimes, and friendship just gets in the way. Look at you, prepared to kill me for some girl," said Sasuke. Naruto crouched slightly, his hand inches away from the hilt of his blade. "Anything for her," said Naruto. Sasuke laughed and shook his head. "That is why you will lose here. Bonds only make you weak," said Sasuke. Naruto frowned. "So all of that you said in the hospital was a lie?" questioned Naruto. Sasuke shrugged. "Some of it was. I do want to see you become Hokage, but Itachi must die before I can move on," said Sasuke. Naruto shrugged. The audience shuffled slightly. Orochimaru raised a hand. "Fight," said Orochimaru. Sasuke dashed forwards, charging lightning through his blade. The sound of steel clashing rang in the air. Sasuke stared into Naruto's calm Sharingan gaze. Naruto kicked Sasuke's stomach. Sasuke doubled over, his hand moving to catch the foot that was coming up to his face. Sasuke caught it easily. He flipped himself over Naruto, his sword twirling in his hand. Naruto spun and blocked the blade with a slice of his own. Both were pushed back from their clashed strikes. Sasuke hands flicked through hand seals, and in an instant he spat out a fireball. Naruto glared and sliding backward slightly, he pulled out his blade, slashing at the oncoming fireball causing it to disperse. Sasuke watched as a blurred figure flew through the smoke. Naruto had his blade in reverse grip. He spun and kicked Sasuke, catching him in the face. Sasuke felt the boulder force hit him, his nose cracking slightly. Naruto in the same movement flipped over, his sword slicing across Sasuke's back. Naruto slid his blade home, his leg smoothly moving to trip the stumbling Sasuke. Sasuke felt his legs get kicked. He fell backwards. Naruto swiftly kicked Sasuke into the air. Naruto jumped, flipping rapidly. Everyone watching saw the water spiral upwards due to Naruto's quick movements. "He is really trying to kill him," said one of the random ninja. The other nodded equally as shocked. "Orochimaru-sama was right," muttered another one. Naruto was above Sasuke, his eyes hard. One hand was past his chest, and then in a wide arc, he threw his arms out to the side. 100 blue kunai rained down on Sasuke. Sasuke raised an arm. Kunai cut into his body as he tried to dodge them in the air. "Wind release, great breakthrough," said Naruto, his fingers flashing through seals. Sasuke felt the large gust of wind slam into him. The blades had flew past faster, cutting more points on Sasuke. Sasuke felt his back slam into the water. and the water around him blew outward slightly. Naruto landed on the edge of the cliff. The ninja behind him moved out of the way, grumbling slightly. Damn it, how can I beat him? If I can't beat Naruto, how can I beat Itachi? Orochimaru was right. Naruto isn't thinking straight. He is attacking me with the intent to kill, just because of Hinata. I don't want that weakness, thought Sasuke. He was racking his brains thinking of a way to even touch Naruto. Sasuke-kun, what will you do now? Questioned Orochimaru. Naruto felt Sasuke's chakra spike. Naruto ran down the large cliff face, his coat blowing wildly. Sasuke exploded out of the water. He slid across the surface like a skater. He jumped, his hands flashing through seals. Fire release, great dragon fire technique, called Sasuke. He sucked in a deep breath, and spat out a large dragon. Its pressure could be felt by all around. Its heat was causing the water to steam in its wake. Sasuke landed on the water surface, his knees collapsing. Fire release, great dragon fire technique, called Naruto, and Sasuke blanched as his dragon exploded, and two large blue dragons flew at him with deadly speed. Sasuke smirked and Naruto watched as Sasuke exploded in a cloud of smoke. Sasuke fell past Naruto, his blade inches away from Naruto's face. Naruto felt a kick in the side of his head. He skidded across the water. He rolled onto his feet, looking at the confident Sasuke. Not even your Sharingan could see through that one, said Sasuke. Naruto smirked. Sasuke frowned. Ah, but using shadow clones takes a huge chunk of chakra. You are down to under half, said Naruto. Sasuke frowned and realized Naruto was right. Sasuke felt that Naruto's chakra hadn't even taken a hit. How has your chakra not changed, said Sasuke. Naruto smirked and shrugged, twirling the blade elegantly in his hand. Because Sasuke, our meanings for using power differ. You fight only for yourself, and your goals. I am going to protect Hinata, at all costs, said Naruto. Sasuke glared at Naruto. I will beat him here, said Sasuke angrily. He flared his chakra, his body taking some from the curse seal. I will win here, said Sasuke. He blurred across the water's surface. Naruto ducked backwards, but a foot tripped him up. Sasuke was flipping over him, punches aimed at his body. Naruto blocked with one hand, occasionally moving his sheath to where he couldn't reach. Naruto stood back up. Sasuke was already attacking him with ferocity. Naruto felt the barrage of punches and winced. Sasuke dropped onto his hands, spinning with a barrage of kicks. In the same movement, he stopped, and run up Naruto and flipped over him, his fingers moving through hand seals. Fire style, great fireball technique, said Sasuke, and fired the fireball at point-blank range. Sasuke landed in a crouch. His fingers moving through another technique at breakneck speeds: ox, rabbit, monkey, dragon, rat, bird, ox, snake, dog, tiger, monkey. His hand clawed towards his side. The sounds of birds chirping rang through the air. Sasuke charged forward, his Sharingan spinning. Chidori, yelled Sasuke. Naruto spun and caught Sasuke's arm, the electricity burning the arm off of his coat, his arms littered with burns. Naruto twisted Sasuke's wrist, but instead of a break, he exploded in a cloud of smoke. Naruto jumped and flipped, spinning in the air as Sasuke passed beneath him, his hand coated in electricity. Naruto landed on his feet, and dodged more strikes from Sasuke. Orochimaru licked his lips as Sasuke fought his hardest. So interesting, come now, show me who is strongest, thought Orochimaru. Naruto felt a kick into his jaw. He skidded backwards. Sasuke blurred and was behind him. He felt another kick and was thrown back. Before Sasuke hit him again, Naruto caught the foot, and using his momentum, he stuck his feet to the water, and tossed Sasuke across the valley. Sasuke crashed into the wall with a large bang. Naruto watched the rebel fall. Sasuke blurred towards him, Naruto's Sharingan keeping up easily. Naruto dodged to the side, his palm stopping hits. Sasuke grew frustrated. Naruto was looking more serious than before. Sasuke went to punch Naruto. When a boulder force struck his chin, Naruto was stood with a clawed palm where Sasuke's chin was. Sasuke was rocketed backwards as Naruto blurred and kicked him in the stomach. Sasuke flipped onto his feet. He looked at Naruto's face. Do you even care why I was here in the first place? Questioned Sasuke. Naruto shrugged. It doesn't matter, I am on a mission. You can tell me about it when this is all over, said Naruto. Sasuke shook his head. Naruto, I am not going back to the village. I have to get stronger to beat Itachi, said Sasuke. Naruto glared slightly. So what about not doing what he wants, said Naruto. Sasuke shook his head. I just couldn't let it go, and when you got promoted to Anbu, I thought, what the hell am I doing? I should be stronger than you, said Sasuke. Naruto raised an eyebrow. How so? Questioned Naruto. Sasuke glared. I am from an elite clan, which produces the strongest ninja. Your father is from the Senju clan and you are from the Uzumaki, a group of nobodies. Sure, the Senju is an achievement, but you are only distant, said Sasuke. Naruto frowned slightly, his eyes flicking to Orochimaru. So you did your research. Names mean nothing. I am me, no more, no less, said Naruto. Sasuke looked down at his fists. Naruto, we are too different. You walk a path different from mine. You are in my way, said Sasuke. His chakra increased further. Naruto tensed and his Sharingan spun. He ducked backwards, Sasuke's fist flying past. Naruto dodged to the side, blocking strikes from Sasuke. Naruto sent a kick to Sasuke, which Sasuke caught easily. Naruto whacked Sasuke across the head with his sheathed blade. Sasuke stumbled backwards. Naruto spun, his feet tripping Sasuke. Naruto sent a fist at Sasuke. Sasuke righted himself and twisted, catching the fist. Naruto spun them, his foot kicking at Sasuke's knee. Sasuke fell to his knee. Naruto rolled over Sasuke's shoulder to his back. Naruto's finger pushed the guard away from the blade. I will protect her, said Naruto softly. Sasuke felt the blade pierce through his chest. He coughed, blood leaving his mouth. You are going to actually kill me, stuttered Sasuke. Naruto pulled the blade out, sliding it home. He closed his eyes as tears left them. For her, anything, said Naruto. He knew now what he felt, for both Sasuke and Hinata. Sasuke was his brother. Naruto's heart filled with pain. Hinata was his love. Naruto's world revolved around her being safe. Naruto was about to step forward, when Sasuke blurred in front of him, a blade slicing across Naruto's chest. Naruto stumbled backwards. Sasuke was stood smirking at him. You may have the Sharingan, but you cannot wield Genjutsu like we can, said Sasuke. Naruto coughed slightly, before a smile twitched the ends of his lips. True, but to me, the Sharingan doesn't make me, I make it, said Naruto. Naruto quickly slashed upwards. Sasuke's blade was hit out of his hands. Naruto slashed at Sasuke quickly. Sasuke coughed as the fire seared through him. Naruto spun the blade into a reverse grip, and moved to slice the top of Sasuke's head off. Sasuke looked up at Naruto shakily. Sasuke felt two arms wrap around him as he slipped into unconsciousness. A loud clang echoed as Orochimaru blocked Naruto's sword with his own blade. Now I must intervene. This went better than I had hoped, said Orochimaru, amusement in his voice. You hoped? Questioned Naruto. Orochimaru laughed. The greatest harm can come from the best intentions. It took me a long time to poison Sasuke's mind once more, easier once I unsealed the curse mark. I told him about your clan, your bloodline, and what your purpose in this world is. To give life to the new ninja. You are the sage of six paths incarnate, but one cannot wield the power of a god, you must earn it, which is why your Rinnegan devolved, am I correct? Questioned Orochimaru. Naruto raised an eyebrow. You are well informed, said Naruto. Orochimaru disappeared and was on top of Madara's head. You are more related to Madara in a way. You see, from the research I have gathered, Madara was able to obtain the Rinnegan before he died. The Sharingan can reach the level of a god in ocular prowess, but you have something more. You have the eyes, the chakra, and the body. The perfect being. Sasuke grew extremely jealous, and knew he needed to achieve the Rinnegan, before you. I told him how you would kill him just to get Hinata, and you proved everything I said to him. So here is your prize, said Orochimaru. He clicked his fingers, and Kabuto landed next to Orochimaru, a limp Hinata held in his arms bridal style. Naruto felt ice shoot through his veins as his Sharingan took in her chakra. There was little to none passing through her body, and what made his blood freeze? Her heart wasn't beating. Devastation. Naruto felt his heart break into a million pieces. He looked at Hinata's ashen face, how her hair seemed to be lacking any life. He tried to see if it was a genjutsu, but it was not. The reaction was better than what I could have expected, laughed Orochimaru. Naruto was just stood unseeingly, his eyes glassy. Orochimaru-sama, muttered Kabuto worryingly. Naruto felt tears fall down his face. He couldn't breathe. Poor girl couldn't even last through the first experiment. Shame, really. Deal with him, Orochimaru said. The ninja that surrounded the valley leapt up, each brandishing weapons to attack Naruto. Naruto retreated into his mind. He walked to the stone in the pond. Naruto, I know you are upset, but don't do this, growled Kurama. Naruto simply flipped the world, his fingers motioning for the kyubi. Said reflection in the pool rippled as Kurama slammed into it. In human form, Kurama tried to turn his head away, but Naruto forcefully grabbed his jaw. Kurama let out a snarl as he looked into the swirling Sharingan. This is going to get interesting, said Orochimaru. Kabuto felt the chakra increase and looked shocked. Naruto opened his eyes and glared at Orochimaru. Naruto's Sharingan changed, the tomos changed into slits, causing Naruto to have 3 miniature slits rotating around his circle pupil. The first lot of ninja landed on the water and ran towards Naruto. Naruto wordlessly removed his blade from its sheath, he twirled the sheath in his hand, and then with a quick movement, launched it into the sky. 3 shadow clones appeared around Naruto, and then they too disappeared. The first row of men got to Naruto, and Naruto dodged the first stab from a sword. In a fluid movement, he spun out from beneath the blade and rolled over the ninja, his blade twirled in his hand, decapitating the ninja. Another ninja jumped at Naruto, attempting to cleave him in half. Naruto spun and sliced the man across his midriff. Naruto moved fluently through the ninja, slicing them down almost before they could get a hit in. Naruto flipped backwards, he jumped and stabbed his blade down, through the open mouth of one of the ninja. Naruto flashed a few single hand seals, and spun to look at the sky. He blew out a large blue fireball, twice the size of a regular great fireball. He swiftly pulled the blade out of the ninja and flipped over another 2 ninja, his sword decapitating them as he spun, the moment he landed. "He truly is amazingly strong," said Orochimaru, awe in his tone. "Let's just hope our best man is good enough," said Kabuto. He was busy healing Sasuke, who was watching over the cliff in begrudging awe. Naruto gracefully cut down 2 more men. He twisted the blade slightly, so both hands were on it. Sasuke couldn't believe his eyes. Naruto's slicing speed had doubled. Naruto stabbed, sliced and dismembered. Naruto flipped backwards, landing on a ninja's shoulders. 2 ninja jumped up to attack him. Naruto leant back, his blade going behind him in a wide arc, slicing the top of the man's head off. Naruto spun the blade gracefully in his hand, and in a reverse grip he sliced across the man's midriff. Naruto flipped off of the man's shoulders, his sword slicing diagonally, instantly killing the man. Everyone noticed how Naruto's sword was hazy, like it was surrounded by a massive heat. "Interesting indeed," muttered Orochimaru. Kabuto also noticed the hazy sword. "Is that some sort of heat haze?" questioned Kabuto. Orochimaru nodded. "Indeed it is, no wonder he is chopping through them so easily," said Orochimaru. His eyes were drew from the fight to the sky, which was thundering a bright blue beneath the dark ash clouds. "I wonder what technique that is?" thought Orochimaru. Unbeknownst to them, 3 Naruto clones sat in a circle, their forefingers and thumbs touching. The sheath of the blade was stood up, embedded in the ground, their eyes were closed tight. Naruto jumped backwards, a blade slicing past his face, his slitted Sharingan spun, the man froze. Naruto flipped over him, landing on the shoulders of another ninja. Naruto crouched slightly before he jumped. He became a blur as he dashed through most of the ninja. He appeared flipping through the air, his hands in the horse seal. "Fire release, great fire annihilation," thought Naruto, and whenever he appeared, a large destructive wave of blue fire would tear through the forces. Naruto landed back on his feet, his blade still in reverse grip. A sword ghosted through him. Naruto spun and walked through the ninja attacking him. Naruto left the blade tangible as he ripped it through the ninja, said ninja crying out in agony as his insides were torn up. Naruto simply ducked his head back as a blade sailed over him. Naruto expertly, still pulling the blade through the man, kicked the sword-wielding ninja's wrist, snapping it painfully. The sword was spinning in the sky. Naruto wrenched the blade out and using the now-dead ninja as a springboard, jumped and snatched the hilt of the katana out of the air. "He's just a fucking kid, kill him already," called out a few of the ninja. They were all stood paused as Naruto landed in the center of them, the random katana held in reverse grip, whilst his katana seemed to be hazing even more in normal grip. "Fucking get him," yelled a few of the men as they charged forward. A few were preparing jutsu. Naruto disappeared, and men screamed as their hands fell to the floor. The screams were cut off when Naruto killed them. "Get the brat," they yelled, and the 50 men left ran at him, each brandishing weapons. Naruto flipped, his arms moving in blurs. The men were being cut down faster. The random katana smashed as it collided with one of the swords. Naruto simply landed on his feet, and spun throwing the smashed blade into the head of one of the ninja. "Look at him, he has decimated half the forces already, call in the second squad," said Orochimaru. Kabuto nodded, finishing his healing of Sasuke. Kabuto leapt off. Sasuke looked down at Naruto, who was fighting. He looked like a seasoned ninja. "Is that Naruto?" questioned Sasuke. Orochimaru nodded. "He wishes for revenge. Look how strong he has become simply with that goal in his mind," said Orochimaru. Naruto ducked and weaved through the blades. He sometimes did a death roll to avoid low swipes and high ones passing through the middle of the blades. Naruto stabbed one through the chest, before backward flipping over another one. the man's head falling off. Naruto stood in the epicenter of a bloodbath. The water had turned a violent red, bodies were floating everywhere in the water. The last four ninja looked at each other, one was shaking, the other three were wary. "The one who kills him, gets free training from me," yelled Orochimaru. The three men charged at Naruto. One was preparing a jutsu, the other two fought, but were quickly cut down. Naruto watched the fireball fly towards him, but with a swish of his blade, a blue hazy slice flew at the fireball, slicing it in half, and then slicing straight through the man. He collapsed in pieces. Naruto looked at the final man. He walked across the red water, his movements graceful. He looked up at the final man. Said man was relatively young. Naruto moved to slice the blade, but said man dropped to his knees, his head pressing into the water. Naruto walked past him, his eyes now on Orochimaru. "So there is some mercy in there," chuckled Orochimaru. Naruto simply flicked his blade, pointing it at Orochimaru. Orochimaru looked at the side of his feet, where there had been sliced by an invisible blade. "Naruto?" muttered Sasuke. Orochimaru laughed as ninja began leaping through the trees. Some were firing small fireballs at Naruto. Naruto's Sharingan flashed red and he disappeared. Men were yelling as they were cut down mid-air, falling to their deaths into the already red river. Naruto landed back on the water surface, his hands flashing through seals. He slammed his hand into the water, a large seal spreading out. Before he could finish, a ninja slammed their fist into the side of his head. Naruto flipped backwards, onto his hands then onto his feet. "Ha ha ha, perfect, show me the power of the Sharingan," laughed Orochimaru. Naruto began to fight again. This time he was more sluggish, he was being hit more, and making more mistakes. "He's reaching his limit, then I will move in," thought Orochimaru. Naruto's hair was dripping with blood and water, his breath coming out in pants. He rolled over one of the ninja, his hands moving in blurs as he cut them down. He felt huge, he was taking down all these ninja, but his motivation was waning. Hinata, he finally realized he loved her, that's why he felt the things he felt. He felt stupid now, it was too late. Orochimaru had won, Sasuke had won. Naruto flipped over two ninja, his sword easily cutting through them. The smell of death was making Naruto sick, he was covered in it, the dead faces lying in the water. It was like his dream back when he first became a Jonin. He was supposed to be a savior, and here he was slicing down ninja who were just following orders. Naruto sliced through two more, tears streaming down his face. Every person he cut down was a slice on his heart. The adrenaline had left him, the fox's power was leaving him. He was fighting for nothing. "Me too, I like your hair, it makes you look like a troublemaker," echoed Hinata's voice, her smiling face. "Naruto-kun," echoed her voice once more. She was looking back at him, a blush and smile on her face. "I love you, Hinata Hyuga," thought Naruto, and then fire filled his veins. He spun his back bending, his sword slicing three ninja behind him. He flipped over their bodies as they fell. He landed on his feet and stabbed out, stabbing the man in the chest. Naruto removed the blade, he spun, throwing the blade, it stabbed through one man, ripping through his back, it went through another, then another. Naruto flipped and disappeared, the blade slid into his waiting hands. He continued his flip and landed on his feet, a roar tore through the air. Naruto flipped backwards, he kicked one of the men in the head. "Grab him," yelled a large man. Naruto leapt high in the sky, the sheath of his blade slid past his face. Naruto kicked the blade causing it to spin. He kicked the end of the blade, sending it flying to Orochimaru. He landed on the opposite side of the valley. He stabbed the haze-covered blade into the ground. He crouched slightly and clapped his palms together. The sky rumbled loudly, the blue got brighter. It was happening faster than the eye could see. The sheath still hadn't made it to Orochimaru. Naruto focused and a large dragon made up of hundreds of tiny blades fell onto the battlefield. Naruto grabbed the hilt of his blade. To Kabuto, there was a flash in the valley, and then no noise, then a sudden rumble. He turned to see the sheath sliding itself onto Naruto's sword. Said boy stood to the side of Orochimaru. Orochimaru was clutching his bleeding throat. The sword clicked and the wind blew slightly. "Lord Orochimaru," yelled Kabuto. Sasuke looked at Naruto shocked. He turned and almost gagged. Everyone was dead, cut into tiny pieces. He looked up and saw the sky had cleared. What type of jutsu was that? It all happened in a flash, thought Sasuke. Naruto refused to look at Hinata's body. Kabuto ran forward, trying to get to Orochimaru, but Naruto slammed the base of his katana into the ground, and kicked Kabuto in the stomach, sending him into a tree. They were startled by a loud clapping. "What a wonderful display," chuckled Orochimaru. He stood at the end of the cliff. How started Sasuke, but Orochimaru smirked. "You are much more spirited than she was, she just cried and said you would save her." "How wrong she was," laughed Orochimaru. Naruto snarled and his slitted Sharingan spun and he disappeared. Orochimaru felt a slash across his stomach. He simply chuckled as snakes pulled him back together. Naruto growled and spun, forcing a harsh kick into Orochimaru's stomach. Orochimaru flew into the red water. He simply stood on the water and motioned for Naruto, his snake sword in his hand. Sasuke noticed how Naruto's blade seemed to be cracking slightly. "No, Naruto, don't," started Sasuke, but Naruto just leapt, his sheath forgotten. Naruto roared as he hoisted the blade over his head. He slashed downwards, and Orochimaru blocked. The sound of shattering echoed in the valley. Sasuke watched as Naruto's blade continued its journey. Naruto collapsed to his knees. Orochimaru simply laughed and put his sword back in his mouth. "Still nothing but a child," said Orochimaru. Naruto collapsed backwards. Sasuke saw all of the pieces of Naruto's sword embedded in his body. Sasuke watched as the hilt disappeared in a blur, as did all of the pieces. The sheath disappeared and Sasuke recognized Naruto using his space/time migration. Naruto coughed out blood. Sasuke winced, his mind going to the possibility of that being him, on the road to revenge. Sasuke saw the carnage and destruction caused by Naruto alone. "So strong," thought Sasuke. Orochimaru stood over Naruto as he began to sink. "Still a child, you couldn't even tell that she was still alive. I am a master of poisons and potions, faking death is a pastime," said Orochimaru. Naruto's eyes were wide as Orochimaru kicked him beneath the red water. Orochimaru appeared in a blur next to Sasuke. Kabuto had just climbed out of the tree. "Well done, Lord Orochimaru, he didn't stand a chance," said Kabuto. Orochimaru nodded, but his mind was sweating as his hand went to his neck. "A second later and I would have died. I felt the blood and quickly shed my body," thought Orochimaru. He picked up Hinata, whose heart was starting to beat again. "And you, my dear, have a dark future ahead of you," said Orochimaru. Then they were all floored by a powerful and angry chakra. Naruto floated in and out of consciousness. He was sinking beneath the surface. He could see the faces of his precious people, the people he swore to protect, his grandfather's words of wisdom, Anko and Ibiki, for making him who he was. Hinata, she was taken because of him, and he wasn't strong enough to protect her. He had all of this power, and all he had done was needlessly destroy hundreds of ninja. "So weak, but you boy have made a big mistake," growled Kurama. Naruto felt his blood freeze at the malice in the fox's voice. Naruto knew at the moment, an apology would probably not be accepted. "I am sorry, Kurama, I was stupid," said Naruto. Kurama snorted. "You know how I feel about the Sharingan and you," started Kurama. Naruto nodded. He drifted in the mental black. "I am eternally sorry. It doesn't matter now, I am dead," said Naruto. Kurama sighed. "I understand, brat, don't think I am going to forgive you that easily, but if you let me have some fun, I may be able to overlook your little indiscretions," said Kurama. Naruto frowned slightly. "What do you know?" said Naruto. Kurama chuckled deeply. "Being stuck in a Sharingan inside a Jinchuriki is a first, especially by the Jinchuriki. I was able to step out of my body, I studied that little jutsu, and I wish to get out for a little while. I promise your little girlfriend won't be harmed," said Kurama. Naruto felt the coldness creeping on him. "But I am dying," said Naruto. Kurama laughed. "I am a chakra being, combine my healing with the Uzumaki healing. I am sure a few punctures are easy. Do we have a deal?" questioned Kurama. Naruto nodded. He watched 3 red domos spin, and before the confusion could hit, his world went dark. In the real world, Naruto's body was still sinking, then the Kyuubi's uncondensed chakra erupted. Orochimaru and Kabuto, who was carrying the now awake Hinata and stumbling Sasuke, walked back to the edge of cliff. The water was rippling. "Ho ho ho, this boy is tenacious," said Orochimaru. Hinata couldn't move her body, but she knew who was there. She could feel Naruto's energy. "Lord Orochimaru, should we just leave? We are not ready to fight him in that state," said Kabuto. Orochimaru laughed. "Kimimaro, come fight," said Orochimaru. Kabuto turned and watched a young man step out of the tree line. He had pale skin, vivid green eyes, masculine facial features, 2 dots on his forehead and shoulder-length white hair, which he wore divided down the middle on his head with 2 separate partings on either side of his face. "You should have let me fight him sooner," said Kimimaro. Orochimaru just chuckled. "I needed to weaken him," said Orochimaru. He was about to talk when the chakra doubled. "To think the brat could train his body to the extent quarter my power output doesn't affect his body," thought Kurama. He finally took control of Naruto's body. He raised his hand towards the surface. His hand was surrounded by a glowing red orb. "Let's welcome chaos," said Kurama, and he clenched his fist. Orochimaru and team watched as the blood-red water erupted, Naruto's floating body in the epicenter, an evil smile on his face. The water was pushed up the side of the cliff in a giant orb. Orochimaru watched as Naruto's eyes opened, and then he was gone. In an instant, Kabuto went flying across the valley, slamming into the side. Kimimaro dashed forward to strike, but his arm was snapped easily, and then tossed into the forestry uncaringly. Orochimaru froze as Naruto's pupil expanded, filling his eyes completely, the sclera turning black. Then 3 small red orbs formed, making 3 red domos, a red pupil in the center. How, muttered Orochimaru, but a foot was planted in the side of his head. He rocketed over the valley. He looked up as Naruto slammed his feet into his stomach. Orochimaru coughed out as he was thrown downwards. Before he could stand, he saw 2 feet floating on the red surface, the red water falling like rain. Naruto kicked Orochimaru in the side of the head, sending him spinning towards the bank at Madara's feet. Orochimaru felt a hand wrap around his ankle, and in a super fast spin he was rocketed into the mountain wall. So strong, thought Orochimaru. He looked up and saw Naruto stood in front of him. Orochimaru struck out at his fastest. Naruto simply sidestepped, catching one of his fists. Naruto slammed a fist into Orochimaru's stomach, then did a high kick as Orochimaru doubled over, kicking him in the jaw. Sasuke sat looking shocked. Naruto was moving faster than he ever had before. He was destroying Orochimaru and Kabuto. Hinata was looking calm, her eyes worried, but Sasuke could tell they were worried for Naruto. Orochimaru managed to get a lucky shot in, but his fist just cracked against Naruto's jaw. Naruto stood as if the strike did not affect him. He grabbed Orochimaru's arm and snapped harshly. Orochimaru gritted his teeth. Naruto spun, pulling Orochimaru by his broken arm. Naruto then ran up Orochimaru's body, and once he was at Orochimaru's head height, he kicked with both feet. Orochimaru was rocketed backwards. Naruto's hand flashed through seals at breakneck speeds. 3 massive dragons were fired with frightening speed towards Orochimaru. As Orochimaru's back hit the wall, the dragons hit one after the other. Sasuke was wide-eyed. Kabuto had climbed out of the rubble and looked slightly frightened. Kimimaro limped forward, his leg twisted at a horrible angle. Lord Orochimaru cried out Kimimaro. He blurred. He was in mid-air behind Naruto, but Naruto spun, his hand grabbing Kimimaro's neck and snapping instantly. Sasuke winced and Hinata just looked shocked. "Well, he didn't last as long as I hoped," said Orochimaru. Naruto let out an animalistic growl and Orochimaru's eyes lit up. "Also, I have the honor of fighting the Kyuubi. You are doing well considering you are sealed within a human," said Orochimaru. He blurred and hit Naruto twice, rocketing Naruto backwards. Naruto flipped and landed on all fours. He tensed and the water exploded as he disappeared. Shikamaru and Jiraiya broke through the tree line first. The first thing that hit them was the stench, the smell of death. Kiba, Shino and Sakura came through next. They too gagged at the stench. The Jonin sensei came next. Each had a grim look on their face. The Leaf Ninja looked over the cliff and felt their eyes widen. The carnage, the bloody water, Naruto causing Orochimaru of the Sannin to play defensive and failing at it. "That is not Naruto," said Jiraiya. Sakura looked shocked. "How can you tell?" questioned Kiba. Jiraiya looked tense. "I just can," said Jiraiya. The Jonin moved forward. "Come on, let's do what we came here for," said Kurenai. The other Jonin nodded. Kakashi looked sad slightly. "What are you going to do?" questioned Sakura, her voice panicked. "We are going to stop Naruto," said Asuma. The Jonin all moved. Orochimaru laughed. Naruto growled as he sensed the others joining the fight. "Looks like I win this time, Kyuubi," said Orochimaru. He disappeared and landed next to Sasuke. He took one look at Hinata and sighed. "It's a shame, but if I try to take you, I fear I wouldn't get us away fast enough," said Orochimaru. His voice sounded upset. Hinata shivered slightly. Control of her body hadn't returned properly yet. The Jonin landed and watched as Kabuto blurred, and Orochimaru, Sasuke and Kabuto disappeared in spirals of fire. Jiraiya and Shikamaru landed too late, but they saw Hinata sat on her knees frozen. "Naruto, I do not wish to fight you," said Kakashi. Naruto was stood looking at them. Kakashi was shocked to see Naruto's eyes, as were the other Jonin. Naruto gave them a nod and the black and red receded, leaving Naruto's normal Sharingan. Before that too faded into silver. "I don't have to see her," stuttered Naruto, exhausted. The Jonin looked speculative, but Kakashi simply grabbed Naruto and leapt up to where Hinata was now led. "Here she is, she can hear you but can't respond," said Shikamaru. Naruto looked at them. "Leave us please," said Naruto. Jiraiya was about to say something, but Shikamaru shook his head. "Okay Naruto, but 5 minutes okay?" You can push yourself more than that, said Kakashi. Naruto nodded exhaustedly. It was then just Hinata and himself. Hinata, I know you can hear me, I just want to tell you. I really like you. I will tell you why, said Naruto. But he felt the darkness take hold of him, his eyes rolling into the back of his head. Naruto awoke with a pounding headache, his eyes hurt. When he opened them he was met with nothing but black. He sat up, his hands moving to his eyes. He felt two soft hands touch his hands. Naruto-kun, you have to leave it on, said Hinata softly. Naruto frowned, fearing the worst. Am I okay? questioned Naruto. He felt Hinata's hand traveled to his cheek. Yeah, Lady Tsunade just wanted to be sure, you had some serious eye strain, said Hinata. Naruto felt tears leave his eyes, his hands shakily moving to cup Hinata's hands that had covered his cheeks. You are okay, said Naruto in relief. Hinata moved and pressed her lips to Naruto's forehead. Thanks to you, said Hinata. Naruto sighed and shook his head. Where are we? questioned Naruto. Hinata smiled, though Naruto couldn't see it. He could feel it. We are in the Leaf Village, have been for 2 weeks, said Hinata. Naruto raised an eyebrow in shock. Really, God, I didn't know I was that hurt, said Naruto. Hinata giggled softly. Naruto smiled at her. What is it? questioned Naruto with a smile. Naruto-kun, you were hardly hurt at all. People are talking about you. Your name has already traveled all over the world. You are the Leaf's burning flash, the destroyer of auto forces, said Hinata. Naruto smiled at her. You are so beautiful, said Naruto. Hinata flushed. Naruto had bandages wrapped around his eyes, his short hair was unstyled. Did you mean what you said? questioned Hinata. Naruto smiled and nodded. I really like you, Hinata Hyuga, said Naruto. He heard a small suck of air and then heard a loud thud. Hinata-kun, called out Naruto. He attempted to get off of the bed, but heard his door open. Naruto, what happened to Miss Hyuga? questioned a stern Tsunade. Naruto sighed. I told her I liked her and she just collapsed on me, said Naruto. Tsunade sighed and lifted Hinata up and placed her in a hospital bed with Naruto. You are lucky, Naruto. Your eyes took a severe damaging from the Kyuubi's chakra. How do you feel? questioned Tsunade. Naruto frowned. I feel perfectly fine, except I can't see, said Naruto. Tsunade sighed. I know, Naruto, but it is a precaution. Now Jiraiya wants to talk to you, said Tsunade. Naruto nodded and heard his sensei walk in. Naruto, how are you? questioned Jiraiya. Naruto shrugged. He felt Tsunade start checking on his bandages and equipment. Fine, sensei. A bit tired, said Naruto. Jiraiya chuckled. Don't worry, that will wear off. Now I won't keep you, so I was wondering, if after your training and Anbu course, would you like to come train with me? I can teach you your father's technique, and help tighten up that which you need to tighten, said Jiraiya. Naruto nodded quickly, though it caused him a head rush. I would be crazy to deny such a request, said Naruto. Jiraiya laughed and patted Naruto on the head. Get some rest, burning flash, said Jiraiya. Naruto flushed and Jiraiya laughed. Naruto was awoken by someone shaking him. He sat up quickly and heard a small leap. Naruto's arms expertly caught Hinata's small frame. Hinata, are you okay? questioned Naruto. Hinata squeezed Naruto's hands. I am fine, Naruto-kun. I heard you were going training, said Hinata. Naruto sighed and pulled Hinata onto the bed, his cheeks blushing. He was sure Hinata was as well. Yeah, 5 years. I really meant what I said, said Naruto. Hinata giggled slightly. I know, I do too, like you, that is, said Hinata. Naruto swore he could feel her blush. Naruto ducked his head, using chakra to help him sense. He placed his lips against Hinata's, a sweet caress against her lips. Wait for me, said Naruto softly. Hinata giggled, pressing her lips to Naruto's. Always will, said Hinata. Both smiled at each other, and though Naruto couldn't see, the moment was still sweet. Both knew the future was going to be dangerous, but they knew, together they could face it. Thank you, grandfather, Daisuke Uzumaki, third Uzukage, thought Naruto. Knowing his grandfather had made the difference in Naruto's life, he had helped shape Naruto into the person he was, he gave Naruto the power to protect. And that is the end, a little anticlimactic to say the least, but I felt that it finished the right way. There are no fillers, no long explanation ruining any secrets. Naruto admitted he liked Hinata, and the future looks bright. Or does it? Konoha's burning flash. I am going to enjoy ripping off your limbs, said Kisame. Naruto chuckled and blurred. Kisame ducked backwards, an ethereal katana passed over his head. Naruto had his metal bar in his hand. Kisame looked at it in awe. What? questioned Naruto. Kisame smirked. When I kill you, I want that blade, said Kisame. Naruto spun the blade in his hand, his finger in the loop. Kisame lunged with a speed Naruto hadn't expected. Naruto ducked, and dodged all of Kisame's strikes. Naruto rolled over Kisame's shoulders, spinning, blades clashed together. Kisame smirked and Naruto watched as his blade disappeared. Shit! Thought Naruto. He backward flipped as Kisame swung wildly. Naruto landed on his feet and twisted his body to the side. So that's the weakness to that blade, said Kisame. Naruto's eyes quickly darted around the battlefield. He saw his friends holding their own, but they were being pushed back, Itachi doing most of the pushing. Naruto flipped to the side, Kisame's blade slamming into the ground. Naruto ran up the side of the blade, feeling his chakra get sucked into the sword briefly. Naruto spun the hilt in his hand, using the ring on the side of the bar, holding it in a reverse grip. Naruto moved to slice Kisame's head off. Kisame ducked backward. Naruto elegantly flipped over Kisame. Naruto landed on his feet, spun and stabbed his sword upwards, still in reverse grip, the sword piercing Kisame's head. Kisame's body changed to water. Naruto cursed, spinning his body, the metal in his hand spinning into a normal grip. Naruto slashed across, his sword colliding with Kisame's, before his sword shimmered out. Naruto cursed, rolling his body to the left, Kisame's sword hitting the floor once again. Naruto spun his foot, kicking the side of the sword. The sword swung wide, leaving Kisame wide open. Naruto smirked, the silver bar once again spinning into reverse grip. Naruto blurred, appearing behind Kisame. A blue line followed Naruto, through Kisame. Naruto blurred back, another line appearing at a different angle. Naruto repeated this a couple of times. Neji watched as Kisame was stood, with 6 different angled blue lines through him. Naruto blurred, a line appeared through Kisame's neck. Naruto appeared in midair. Naruto slid the metal bar in its holster. Naruto crouched his knees, his hand reaching down to feet level. Kakashi and Neji watched as a strange blue alchemic circle appeared out of nowhere. Naruto stretched out his other hand. Chakra began to spin, forming an orb in his hand. Naruto dived down, using the blue alchemic circle as a springboard. The alchemic circle disappeared. Naruto slammed the spiraling orb into Kisame's frozen body. Kisame thrashed slightly, before he was thrown away, spiraling into a tree. Naruto rolled onto his feet, swinging his arm out, his bright blue katana extended. The Akatsuki troopers began to shift uncomfortably. Naruto felt Kisame's chakra pulse. Naruto looked around, his teammates were looking worse for wear. Itachi was doing an expert job of weakening them, and combined with the troopers, they wouldn't last long. I am sorry, Jiraiya-sensei, thought Naruto. Careful, brat, said Kurama. Naruto nodded mentally. He stood. Kisame was moving towards him quickly. Naruto was stood with his eyes closed. Naruto, move, yelled Kakashi. Kisame was right behind Naruto. Naruto was stood, his hair blowing in the breeze. Naruto opened his left eye. Mangekyo Sharingan, said Naruto.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.